Welcome to the shooting show. This week we're on pigeon patrol in East Yorkshire and Byron Pace gets all Finnish with a Sako 85.
Just half a mile from my home turf in East Yorkshire, it's time to catch up on some much needed pigeon control. These crop raiders are out in force and threatening to do some serious damage to a bean field on Shep's patch, so there's no time to waste. After a quick check of the conditions, the hide goes up in record time and it's out with the deeks. With the pattern carefully assembled, we're ready to get down to business. But no sooner do I get into the hide than I have to get back out again. A priority call from Sporting Rifles publisher means I have to head to the office to sign off the next edition. If you thought being a magazine editor was a glamorous role, think again. So with me out of the picture, it's Shep's time to step into the limelight. Shouldering his Benelli semi-auto, it's time for him to show our cameras what he can do, and what better place than his own field. The first two birds are quickly on the ground, but from the early evidence, not everything is going Shep's way.
I hope you didn't get that on film.
A frustrated Shep heads out for a quick rearrange of the decoy pattern. No doubt he's planning to blame me for setting it up all wrong. Then it's back to the shooting. Or so we think. Things have gone eerily quiet as we begin round two. Perhaps Shep's decoying abilities aren't quite what he thinks they are. Finally, the deadlock is broken. That's more like it. And as the pigeons begin to follow the script and arrive in numbers, Shep takes the opportunity to bag himself a double. And then another. Leaving the birds that have fallen belly down to act as extra decoys, Shep's got a largish pattern working for him, and we're sensing the chance of a big bag. But we've got a long way to go yet. Shep makes the feathers fly once more with 2 more kills. It's clear why pigeon pest control is so important on this patch. The birds just can't keep off the bean field, and left unchecked they could wreak havoc. Not that Shep is too troubled by the task at hand. We suspect he's having more fun than he's really letting on.
That's another one for the bag. Well, we've had a steady sort of a day today, but they're just starting to come a bit now, and Pete's missed a good day really, because we'll have 50 or 60. But we're using his cartridges, so that's all the better. Healy VIP, doing a grand job.
The pattern seems to be working, but for a minute or so it all goes quiet, with our chosen quarry teasing us by staying high overhead. However, all doubts are soon dispelled, as it's not long before we get another chance.
Yeah.
A break to gather the downed birds sees the pattern replenished once more. We ask Shep for his take on how it's going.
They're coming a bit steady today. Wind's a bit modest. But anyhow, hopefully job should pick up a bit now.
That's Shep, clearly a man of few words. Well, less time talking means more time shooting.
I hope.
Back in the hide, we barely have time to stoke up the Benelli and turn on the camera before another flock decoys in. Time for round 3. With the pigeons coming in at a steady rate and the Ely cartridges doing their job downrange, Shep's building a respectable bag. He's beginning to warm to this solo pigeon shooting gig, much to my detriment.
It's easy with Ely.
But the occasional miss means I might still be welcome in the hide next time.
Well. Three? Did you get all 3? Well, soon as you have a tidy up, because there's 2 or 3 upside down on their backs and it's just shining them away a bit. So we'll have to have a tidy up.
With less than an hour of shooting time left, Shep tweaks the pattern one last time. The pile of shot birds has grown and must now be approaching the magical 100 mark.
What do you reckon the day's total is?
I don't know, I think 70, 80 maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe a few more, maybe a few less. Somewhere in there I would have thought.
Yeah.
We get back to business and Shep's not wasting any time. It's almost as if he wants to get to 100 before I get back. Never let the serious job of pest control get in the way of local rivalry.
Did you get? Okay. Are you ready? Look. Well, them 2 landed, so I thought I'd have them both with one shot. I'm here to do a job whether they're sat or flying. Well, it's sown with beans, but as it's so dry, they just seem to be struggling to come out, and pigeons won't leave them alone. I've had a banger on at the far end of the field. It doesn't seem to keep them off, so I've had 3 Saturdays on the trot now. I've had 128, 168, and then what we've got today.
Mr. Carr.
Wait for Mr. Carr.
Who was supposed to be sat there for the majority of the day, but he's been conspicuous in his absence, shall we say. So, but if there's anything else, I think you did say somewhat along the lines of, has it gone worse or better with his absence?
It's gone a lot better.
As one final bird hits the deck, it's time to count up the bag and clear the deeks away. And for this task, the cavalry turns up on cue.
Come to give you a hand, guys. 2 willing helpers.
Oh, yes.
You didn't need my help after all then, Mr. Shepherd.
No, you're a bit of a letdown. I think that's just colours over 100.
So, what have we got for the day then?
101, I think. There was 99 in there.
Oh,
So,
perfect. Well done.
It's a good job you shot that first one just to get us going.
Absolutely. I have to do my bit, you know.
It was a dolly.
So, today it's been specifically a crop control exercise rather than a day sport.
Yeah.
As the your beans that's getting hammered.
Yeah, well, it's so dry, can't you? They're germinating on light land, but not on heavy land.
Yeah.
So pigeons just won't leave them alone.
And what do you think to the Benelli then? How did that perform today?
Very well. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10? That means
I can
something
get
coming
3
from
at a
you.
time.
Oh, perfect. Well, I do apologise for not getting back earlier, but needs must. And
It's a poor effort.
yeah, well, you know, some of us are chained to a desk, and
Oh, hi. What was your excuse then?
yeah, I was chained to a desk.
It's always good to pass the century mark on a day's pigeon shooting, but it's an endless battle and just a temporary reprieve from the feathered grey marauders.
Shep just topping the 100 mark there. And now, the Shooting Show news.
This is the Shooting Show news. It's 3 days until the general election, and shooting organisations have issued a final reminder to cast your vote for the shooting sports. Head to politics.basque.org.uk for a full guide to the candidates in your area and their views on shooting. You can also contact candidates to make your views known. Basque's Chief Executive Richard Ali said we need to make MPs aware that shooting is an essential part of British life. Shooting may be good for the economy and for conservation, but it's also good for health and well-being. That's the message of a new infographic released by Basque. In its latest survey of shooters, 7/8 of respondents said they get moderate to high intensity exercise from shooting. 95% said it's important to their personal well-being, while it's emerged that people make an average of 20 friends from shooting. Grey partridge numbers are up by 18%. That's what the GWCT's partridge count scheme last autumn revealed, and now a warm summer could see populations rise again. All regions within the scheme reported an increase in bird densities on the previous year. The GWCT said this demonstrated that grey partridge recovery is achievable, and urged everyone with an interest in conservation to get involved in the counts this year. And finally, if you're into fox hunting, you might find this a familiar sight. It's been voted the best hunting tumble photo of the 2014-15 season. Ella Meadows snapped the shot of Sam Matthews taking a fall over a drainage ditch at the Weston and Barnwell Harriers hunt. Both Sam and horse Banjo were fine, though Sam was a bit bruised. That was the Shooting Show news.
This is the Sako 85 Hunter. A lot of people will be familiar with the Sako 75. It is a very well respected rifle, and a lot of people hold it dearly, and few people who own one will want to get rid of one. The Sako 85 has changed in a few places. So as I run through this rifle, I'll explain exactly what Sako have done to change their model. The Sako 75 was a 3-lug design in terms of the locking lugs on the bolt. The Sako 85 is also a 3-lug design. But what Sako have done is they've opened up the face on the bottom edge. So we still have the classic Sako extractor. You can see it just here, sprung, so it clips over the rim of the case for extraction. And we still have the very solid and strong fixed ejector. If you look just inside the rifle here, you can see it's actually sprung so that it can slide underneath the shaft of the bolt. This is a really, really great design. There's very little that can go wrong here. Much stronger and arguably more reliable than the little sprung plunger you find in the likes of a Remington 700, for example. What Sako say they've done is that they've created this rifle as a semi-controlled feed. And the reason why they're saying that is because as this bolt face comes forward, it grabs the edge of the case, on the head of the case, and it pushes it forward, but all the while the top edge is kind of encompassed in the face of the bolt. Now you'll see as I operate it that is true, but I wouldn't really describe this as a controlled feed. Safety catch on the 85, exactly the same place as the 75. You can see here just to the right of the bolt shroud, which in my opinion is exactly where you want a safety catch to be. You've got 2 positions here. If I just load this, pull the safety back, trigger, firing pin, lock down, push it forward, and you can push this safety catch forward virtually silently. If you have the rifle cocked and the safety is on, it is actually possible to remove the bolt still. For that, you simply push this little tab down here. By depressing that little tab, the rifle is still on safe, and you can lift the bolt, drop it out, and take your live round out. So it's only a 2-position safety, but you can still remove the bolt with the safe on. In terms of the action itself, certainly what you can see above the stock, it hasn't changed very much. It's the same sleek, nice lines that you'll be used to seeing on Sako's full-bore rifles. Dropping down to the trigger, and I've said this enough times about Sako triggers, Sako definitely produce some of the best triggers on the market for an off-the-shelf rifle. This trigger on this particular Sako 85 was absolutely no exception. It was a little bit heavy coming from the factory, but it can be adjusted, and before I do any more work on the range or take it out stalking, I'm going to make it slightly lighter, but we'll have a look at the adjustments for the trigger once we get there. The barrel itself, again, nothing's changed. Sako are still fitting the same high quality hammer forged barrels that they've always fitted to their rifles. So there's no real change there. The wooden stock is fairly straightforward. There's nothing too fancy here, but the checkering is nicely finished. The cheek piece here is nicely shaped, and of course you've got this shadow groove around here, which I think really just sets it off nicely. Just a slight touch of class, something that you would more likely see on, you know, a high quality London gunmaker stock. The magazine is an improvement from the Sako 75. Not that much has changed. What they have done is they've upgraded the release mechanism. Now previously all you had to do was you pulled a little lever at the front here and the magazine popped out. For a safety margin, what Sako have done is they've made it so that in order to release the magazine, you have to depress the magazine in with your finger and then depress the release catch. So that way there's two actions involved and you can't inadvertently drop it out in the field. Not that that ever happened with my Sako 75, but I don't see any issue with this, and I think it's a really nice touch to have. And once you get used to it, it's not that difficult to operate. Simply depress it with one finger, release with the other, magazine in your hand. So anyway, here you can see very small, neat little 223 magazine, all made of metal, double stack, just like the triggers. One of the best magazines on the market. Looking inside the stock itself, it is immediately obvious that everything is not the same. On the Sako 75, what we had was a separate alloy bar that was permanently fixed to the action itself with grub screws. On the Sako 85, we have this very small lug machined directly from the bar stock that the receiver itself was made from. So this will actually be stronger, but it is a very small lug, and this fits into this plate here, and this plate is screwed into the wooden stock itself. Initial inspection of this recoil plate doesn't fill you with confidence. Metal plate here fixed with two wood screws essentially into the stock. However, I've taken these out and it actually reveals how it's made and how it's fixed. We do have a very substantial piece of metalwork here with a nice big thick strong lug at the front. That sits into a milled slot in the stock itself. So the lug on the action transfers the stresses from here into this lug at the front. I would have thought Sako would have bedded this lug in somehow. I don't really see why they haven't, but I suppose the machining is fairly tight. Certainly doesn't seem to have affected the accuracy at all. I just kind of expected they would have done it. Apart from the recoil lug system, not a great deal else has changed. There's not much more to tell. As you can see here, same trigger unit fitted as before. It's pretty much the same trigger unit Sako have fitted for decades, and as I've said before, it's very, very good. This is the result of me zeroing the 223 Sako 85. First group with gecko ammo down here, under an inch, not too bad. I then moved up to here, started shooting some Norma. First group of 3 here, a few clicks up, a few clicks right. Next group of 3 here, and that's actually 3 shots here. My hands were getting really cold, so I went to heat them up before I shot the last group, and well, it doesn't really get very much better than that, which is exactly what I expected from the Sako. It is a very tidy, neat little rifle. I love the fact that this 223 is on such a small action. I said it before, but one of the problems with some manufacturers is you only have 1, maybe 2 action length sizes, so you don't get the full benefit of shooting a nice small caliber. Some people give the Sako 85 a little bit of a hard time looking back at some of the older Sako models, but from the use that I've had and speaking to 1 or 2 people who actually own them, Most people have nothing but praise for them, and certainly the usage that I've had, I can't really complain. And I'm just hopeful that I can get into a couple of does before the end of the season so that I can make use of this rifle in the field.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And if you're not a member of Basque, it's time to join now. Basque, looking after your sport, looking after you.